Hey, my friends, how are you? How are you? How are you? I hope you are wonderful. I hope you are getting into the spirit of the season and enjoying a little bit of time with friends and loved ones. It's been a while since we were able to connect with each other, and it's feeling really, really good this year. So I hope that you are all feeling that vibe a little bit and that you're well. With all of that socialization and intermingling comes, of course, the spreading of some germs. So I know I'm hearing from you that for the first time in a while, colds are getting, kind of going through the household. Um, so I hope that everybody's keeping well. I wanted to just say thank you again to all of you for supporting our online customer appreciation event. I truly could not do what I do, any of it, if it wasn't for you guys, just showing up in such a big way all the time and supporting what we do here. So thank you to all of you. So as promised, this is a little bonus webinar, a little bit of information that I just wanted to share with you around how I transition from the fall into the winter. I find personally this seasonal transition the hardest. I really do. I feel it on my mind and my body and my soul. And so there's some tricks and tools that I have come to rely on over the years. And so I just thought I would share some of those with you so that if you also feel this seasonal transition, like really feel it weighing on you and affecting you, then hopefully there'll be something in this information that you can pull out and that can maybe help you along a little bit and make it a little bit easier for you. So the first thing that I do is really just start to, for so long I fought against the transition that I felt. Like I fought against wanting to go to bed earlier. I fought against, just feeling a little bit of a need to cocoon sometimes, to be warmer, to pull back and to sort of integrate, all the things that have happened over the last, all that busyness. I find when it's warm and bright and light outside and I'm out more and I'm interacting and my energy is high, it's like, it's kind of go time. And this transition feels more like kind of pulling back and allowing all the stuff that's happened to just integrate and for me to sit with myself and just kind of be reflective and plan what do I want the next year to look like. And I used to really beat myself up over that inclination and be like, no, what's wrong with you? Like, it's only November. You got to go, girl. You can't be like this for the next 3-4 months. Winter is going to go on for months. And so you can't be all introspective and sleepy and taking, extra time to rest. You can't be doing that for long. So let's get on with the show. And I stopped doing that. I stopped beating myself up and trying to like push the boulder up the hill and fight against what seemed to be naturally happening. Because what I find is that by January, I am actually feeling different, feeling better, feeling more energized and ready to move into the new year and new goals and all that good stuff. So I don't freak out about it and worry about it anymore so much. And I just let this transitional time be what it is. So I definitely feel that like need to go to sleep earlier is huge. And so I'm going with it. And that typically means that I'm waking up a little bit better rested, not necessarily earlier, but I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more rested and having more productive hours in the day. So I would encourage you to also notice any natural rhythms that your body is inclined towards right now and try not to beat yourself up or fight them, but to go with them because everything is transitional. You're not going to get stuck in any particular state or phase forever. And so just trust that, your body is wise. And if this is what you need right now, then go with it. And I think that we will all end up in a healthier, better rested, more insightful, energized place coming out of that. So that's my little, I guess just right off the top, my little tip is wherever you are and however that feels, it's not wrong, it's perfect. And so let's lean into that. The other thing that I notice personally this time of year, as soon as everything gets closed up in my house and the heat comes on, it's like the moisture is just sucked from every cell in my body. So I need to really focus on hydrating, which does not come naturally because I don't want to be drinking cold drinks right now. Like it feels totally counterintuitive. And so I have to remind myself to drink, and I have to shift some of those daily habits, because typically I just refill my water bottle every day from the pitcher of water out of the fridge and, you know, put a scoop of collagen in it or a lemon wedge or something to zhuzh it up a bit, and on I go. I don't want cold water right now. And so if that's the only option that's available to me, I find that I'm just not drinking. So I have to plan ahead a little bit. I've got now a kettle at the store so that I can make hot water. I've got lots of different varieties of herbal teas so that I can throw that into my water to, again, just make it more interesting. I use a lot of trace mineral drops and electrolytes this time of year because, again, I just find that helps to keep me hydrated. And so once a day, either using one of those electromag packets from Canprev, they have a really sort of a mild citrusy flavor. And so that in warm water, it reminds me of Neocitrin almost. Like it's just kind of a comforting, warm, lemony drink. And those extra electrolytes will really help keep hydration in your cells. And same thing with trace mineral drops. Trace mineral drops on their own are not delicious, but adding a few of those into a herbal tea or any type of elixir, then they are going to really help your cells hold hydration better this time of year. So elixirs, I love, like I'm always a big fan of the Organic Traditions mixes because they just mix really well into any kind of hot water, which is easy and simple. I also love just raw cacao powder, mixing that in with a little bit of oat milk or coconut milk, whatever you have on hand, and some hot water. That'll still give you that really nice, creamy, comforting texture, but without a lot of sugar from like a latte kind of drink that you would get at a drive-thru. So I am a really big fan, and you've probably heard me say this before, of keep the behaviors that you find really comforting. So if like a hot drink every morning, every evening, all day is what feels good to you right now, let's keep that behavior. Let's just look at substitutions for what's in the cup. So rather than drinking like 3 or 4 coffees a day, can we do 1 coffee in the morning and then switch it up to some elixirs or some warm teas or like a warm electrolyte drink later in the day, so that you're getting some different nutritional sources, different hydration sources. And those elixirs can be really nutritive. They can be really amazing sources of superfood. Like right now I'm doing raw cacao powder and some reishi mushroom powder, scoop of collagen. So like you can really actually get quite a bit of nutrition into a big warm drink. And so something that just takes a little bit more planning and forethought to make sure you have those things on hand wherever you kind of spend the bulk of your day is going to go a long way to helping make sure that you're staying hydrated and doing that in a way that feels really comforting during this transitional time. And again, that you're not just trying to force yourself to do what you've always done because it might not feel really good right now. The other way that I like to stay hydrated on sort of a cellular level this time of year is I up my omega-3s a little bit, because that's going to kind of lubricate us from the inside out. So if you find that your skin is quite itchy and tight and dry, or your scalp is getting itchy and tight and dry, any kind of patches of like eczema, I find seasonally, I'll get little, like this time of year, little patches of eczema that start to pop up that I never have any other time of year. And like nothing in my diet has changed, but it's just that temperature and air quality change. So upping my omega-3s really helps from the inside, because not only is it adding healthy fats and oils to kind of lubricate us from the inside out, but there's also that natural anti-inflammatory benefit. So if you do have that itchiness or that little bit of psoriasis or eczema popping up, then that will really help. And so the same sort of idea with like the way we're shifting things with our drinks, I like to make the same sort of shifts with my food. So I'm still eating lots of veggies, but instead of it typically being a big bowl of salad, like I don't want to eat cold food right now. And so I'm respecting that. And so what I will very often do is some greens, leafy greens as the base of my veggies, but then lots of roasted veggies on top or a warm dressing. So one of my favorites is olive oil, some Dijon mustard, and some salt and pepper, like as simple as it can possibly be, but just put those things into like a little saucepan and warm them up on the stove, just whisk them together. Oh my gosh, they make the most delicious warm dressing. And so drizzling that over some roasted veggies, some wilted greens, mixing in some cooked grains. So I'll make a pot of quinoa, keep that in the fridge so that it's there, and then just warm that up. And add that in with some veggies. And then again, it's just a little bit heartier. It's a little bit more comforting. It's a little bit more warming this time of year versus just like a straight up plate of raw, cold salad or veggies. So using little tweaks and twists like that can really help. Again, like the objective is the same. We still want to get lots of good veggies in our diet, plant-based, lots of fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals. We're still checking all those boxes. We're just tweaking it in a small way so that it feels really comforting for the season. This time of year, of course, getting fresh veggies is, you know, they're going to be fewer and further between, especially if you like to focus on local foods. So anything that is fresh frozen, you're going to be maintaining a really high degree of the nutritional content. Like, so if something is picked at its peak ripeness or harvested at its peak freshness and washed and frozen, the amount of nutrition that you're getting when you defrost that and like roast it or throw it in a stir fry is going to be quite high. Where we want to try and minimize our veggie intake is from canned food, because unfortunately whenever our fruit or veggies go through a canning process, there's just more processing steps involved, and at every stage we lose some of the nutritional value in our food. So reduce like getting your fruits and veggies from cans as much as possible, but definitely go for anything that's fresh frozen, especially if it has come, you know, from our local growing region. Then you're totally good there and you're still getting lots of nutrition. Even if something is steamed or stir fried or roasted, you're good to go. The other thing that I do this probably more than most people. I do it every 6 months because I'm a little bit obsessed, but you really only need to do it annually. But most people don't do it ever, and that is getting your vitamin D level tested. We don't do it ever because no one ever offers to do it. And so, you know, like when no one ever offers to test your vitamin D, how the heck would you know to ask? So this is your PSA letting you know that it is super important to have your levels tested. Now, your doctor won't offer it to you because it's not covered by OHIP, but it's a test they can very easily add to any requisition. So if you're seeing your doctor annually for a physical, then ask them to just stick a vitamin D test on your requisition and say, I will pay for it myself. I understand it's not covered. If that is at all within your budget, I encourage you to do that. So what would a cost for a vitamin D test look like? It's around $35. So if you can swing that, I highly recommend that you do. The reason that I recommend it so strongly is because, okay, why does Health Canada not pay for our vitamin D tests? Because they assume that all Canadians are vitamin D deficient. And so from their point of view, they're like, you know, why would we do a test when the test is going to tell us everybody's deficient? It's safe to assume that. So everybody should be supplementing. okay, fair. However, depending on how deficient you are, if you are only taking the recommended daily dose of vitamin D that is set by Health Canada, which is 1,000 international units per day, if you're really low, that 1,000 IUs a day is never going to get you back up to an optimal range. But, you know, the flip side of that coin is if you just start megadosing yourself, how the hell are you going to know when you're like now way above optimal, which vitamin D is a fat soluble nutrient. So it's not like vitamin C or vitamin B that we're just constantly clearing from our system. It actually can build up. And, you know, then you get to a situation where you've got more than you need. And you're like, well, okay, if that's the case, then you need to actually stop supplementing for a little while. But again, how in the heck would you know? Like, there's no possible way just by looking at a person or you looking at yourself in the mirror that you would know where you fall on that spectrum. And so a blood test, not a hair test, not a urine test, not a tongue, like, I don't even know. There's so many crazy tests that get offered in the holistic world. A blood test is what you need. Like I say, it's inexpensive, like $35. If you can swing it, please do it. Just to get a baseline of where your vitamin D is at now, and that will give you much more clear information on how much vitamin D you should be supplementing every day. If a vitamin D test is not in the cards for you right now, I totally get it. Stick with 1,000 international units a day. At least do that. That is a safe minimum dose. And at the very least, we know you're not going to be dropping any lower in your status, and you'll be maintaining, which is winning. So if a test is not in the cards for you, 1,000 international units of vitamin D every day, okay? Vitamin D is so important for so many aspects of our health. Every single immune cell in your body has a little antenna on it that's basically a vitamin D receptor. So it's looking for vitamin D to help it work properly. So when we are deficient in vitamin D and our immune cells don't have access to that vitamin D molecule to kind of turn it on and help it do its thing properly, our immune system becomes compromised. We are more prone, the possibility of us to have a sort of uncontrolled inflammatory response to a virus. That can happen when our vitamin D is very low. And certainly our mood can get affected when our vitamin D is very low. So there are a lot of different ways that optimizing our vitamin D level this time of year can be super important. And just to clear up any, again, misconceptions, can you get it from diet alone? No, you just cannot. It's just, there's food sources of vitamin D are extremely poor. And so to be able to get even your 1,000 international units of vitamin D a day, you would need to drink 10 tall glasses of fortified milk every day. So I don't know anyone who is going to do that, sign up for that. So supplement, it's way, way easier. And also easier on your intestines than trying to drink 10 tall glasses of milk a day. I don't know about you, but it would be a real bad situation at my house if I tried to do that. Okay. So if you have questions about vitamin D, please, if you want to continue that conversation, feel free to reach out. We can definitely do that. Sleep, I sort of talked about a little bit off the top that I definitely feel more inclined to get to bed earlier now that it's dark at 4 p.m. But the flip side of that coin, when we're trying to establish really good, healthy sleep cycles and sleep rhythms, is that when we wake up, try and get some natural light, because it really does help our own natural sleep-wake rhythms to get established in a really nice, natural way. So if you can, as soon as you wake up, open your curtains, let a little bit of natural light on your face, even if it's not sunny out, just that natural light does have a positive influence. If you have a dog, take them for a walk, or if you have children, take them for a walk. Just getting outside for a little bit of time and getting some natural light on your face can be hugely helpful, not only to help boost your mood and your energy throughout the day, but really help establish a healthy sleep cycle in the evening. And the other thing that I really like to do when everything gets closed up in my house, and I mentioned this sort of in conjunction with sleep, because for me, I just like to have this in my bedroom. It works out for me, but you can do this however it works for you. I like to keep a diffuser because it adds a little bit of moisture to the air in my bedroom. I do crack the window because I have pets. So whenever you're diffusing essential oils around pets or around children, you want to make sure that the air can really circulate because kids and pets are more sensitive to those essential oils than we are. So crack the window, plug in your diffuser, whether that's bedside for you or if it's like in the living room, wherever. You want to make sure that, like I say, if you have pets in the house, window is cracked and that they can actually get out of the room, that they can get right away from the scent if they want to, because they'll self-regulate. And if they feel like they're getting bothered by the scent, they'll just get up and move away from it. So it's important that they're not closed into a confined space with essential oils diffusing, or really any kind of fragrance for that matter, like whether you like incense or anything of that nature. But I love the diffuser because, like I say, it adds some moisture to the air, which I find gets really dry in my house once the heat comes on. The window's cracked a tiny bit, and I'm diffusing some essential oils that really help to clean and purify the air. So that's something that for me, I find essential oils very relaxing and soothing. So it lends itself to a great sleep for me and to just that whole relaxation vibe. But you can use them wherever you want to, wherever it works for you in your house or whatever time of day. But I really like, but if you don't like the essential oil component, then you can certainly just use a humidifier to put a little bit of moisture in the air. And when we can keep those membranes of our respiratory tract, so the sinuses and the back of the throat, when we can keep those moist and hydrated, it actually helps us fight germs better. It's when everything gets really dried out that we are providing more access for germs to kind of come in and find little cracks in the surface of our nasal passages or the back of our throat, and they can sort of take up residence there and start to proliferate. So keeping those areas of your body and your respiratory tract nice and hydrated can really be useful. And if by chance you do find that some germs make it into your house, then I like to keep some extra key nutrients on hand in the winter months, because I have my maintenance stuff that I take every day, right? Like I'm a big fan of B vitamins. They help me with my energy and stay out of burnout. I have some supplements that I take for hormones. I have like my vitamin D, my omega, like those are kind of my everyday foundational things that I take. So I don't want to load myself up with 1,000 more things like every single day, but I do keep them on hand. So at the first sign of anything, if I just start to feel like, ooh, I feel a little bit extra run down today, I like to have extra vitamin C on hand. I like to have extra zinc. And then I also like to have some sort of immune system stimulator. Now, that could look like oil of oregano. That can look like flaxseed oil. That can look like Deep Immune from St. Francis. That can look like, for me, I'm a big fan of the mushroom turkey tail, or Coriolis is sometimes you see it referred to as. But that particular mushroom is really well studied for its antiviral effects. And so I find it just works really exceptionally well for me. I load up on it and it like knocks out whatever. Extra vitamin C, extra zinc, and turkey tail, that's my magical combination. But for you, it could be any combination of any sort of immune system stimulator. And like I say, that can be St. Francis, Deep Immune, or oil of oregano, or whatever you like, then just keep that on hand so that whenever you start to feel like, ooh, something's happening here, or someone in your house has brought something home and you're like, I do not want to get that, then that's the time to sort of hit the accelerator on your immune system, take that particular product support that you're going to utilize for a short period of time to get over and get through that situation. And then you can back off that, ease off of that, and go back onto your regular everyday regime. So those are my tips for getting you through this transition, getting you through the darker, colder months in a really healthy, supportive way. I hope that you have found this to be helpful and useful information. And of course, if there's anything here that I've talked about that you have questions or you want to follow up or continue the conversation, just shoot me an email or send a message, through Instagram or Facebook, and we can definitely continue the conversation. But again, thank you so much for all your support and for listening and for being part of this amazing community. You guys are the best ever, and I will see you around the store. Bye for now.